In the heart of an ancient land, where the desert meets the blood, a name echoes through the stone walls and chambers of power. While the world watches the conflicts in the Middle East, few know that behind the decisions that spark wars and shape the fate of nations, there is an almost invisible figure, yet absolutely powerful. Not a president, not a king. He is called the Sign of God. Followed like a saint, feared like a dictator. But who is the Ayatollah? Why does he decide on faith, politics, and even war? To understand the present, we must go through centuries of religion, revolution, and blood. The word Ayatollah comes from Arabic, Ayat Allah. It means sign of God. Within the Shia tradition of Islam, the Ayatollah holds a position that goes beyond religion. He is not just a scholar, not just a cleric. He is a direct interpreter of the divine will. While Sunnis follow a decentralized model of leadership, Shias place their trust in the Marja, spiritual guides with near absolute authority. At the top of this hierarchy stand the Ayatollahs, and above them, one even more powerful, the Grand Ayatollah. The Ayatollah was not chosen by the people. He was chosen by time, by tradition, by fear. Becoming an Ayatollah takes decades of study in religious schools, the hawzas, where young men dive into Islamic texts in silence for years. But to truly understand the weight of this title, we must see how he left the temples and took the throne, how faith became state, and how the Ayatollah became the most powerful man in Iran. For decades, Iran walked between two worlds, an ancient empire dressed in Western clothes. And behind the glow of modern cities, wide boulevards, and palaces, a silent rage was growing. The people fasted. While the Shah feasted, the countryside sank into misery, while the elite drowned in gold. Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the Shah of Iran, ruled as an absolute monarch, backed by the United States, armed to the teeth. But he had forgotten one thing: a force that doesn't yield to tanks, a force that came from the mosques. In 1979, that force erupted. Crowds flooded the streets, books burned, statues toppled. Soldiers dropped to their knees before the people. But among all the faces, one name united the masses: Khomeini. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini was in exile, but his words crossed borders on underground cassette tapes, hidden in clothes, passed hand to hand. When he spoke, the squares filled. When he fell to his knees, the crowds rose to their feet. In February 1979, he returned, after 15 years away from the country. He was received by millions like a prophet. The Shah fled, the empire collapsed, and Iran was born again, not as a democratic republic, but as the Islamic Republic of Iran. For the first time, a modern theocracy, a nation ruled by faith, and at the top, a cleric. The Ayatollah was no longer just an interpreter of God's word. Now, he was the state itself. The constitution was rewritten. The veil became a symbol. The music stopped. and those who disagreed disappeared. The world watched, stunned. A new kind of government had emerged, neither communist nor capitalist, but something even more unpredictable. A nation armed with faith, a government with a sacred face, and a leader no one dared to challenge. It's easy to speak of the Ayatollah as a symbol of power. What's hard is understanding what he means to those who live in his shadow. On the streets of Tehran, men avoid words, women avoid glances, and children learn from a young age not to ask questions out loud. The Ayatollah is not just in the palaces. He's on posters, on screens, in school books. He decides what can be heard, what can be worn, what can be dreamed. Women, even the youngest, cover their hair not out of faith, but out of fear. But even fear is not eternal. In recent years, protests have spread like sparks, fueled by martyrs of freedom like Mahsa Amini, who died after being arrested by the morality police. Every silent scream in the streets echoes across the world. Every woman who tears off her veil in front of the cameras is a direct challenge to the invisible throne. Because behind faith, there is control. Behind morality, there is repression. And behind the Ayatollah, there is a people beginning to awaken. In the end, this is not just about Iran. It's about the power that hides beneath the veil of faith and the courage it takes to lift it. Because when religion becomes government, faith is no longer a choice. It becomes a sentence. The question is no longer who is the Ayatollah, but rather, how much longer will the world accept that one man speaks for God